Up, we're gonna have Jackie Douglas talk. She's a staff member at Livable Streets. That if you have any questions about WTF is up with a certain bridge or a certain sidewalk or a certain road anywhere in the greater Boston area, then like Jackie's kind of like a go-to gal. It's an advocacy group that focuses on rethinking urban transportation. So it's not just bikes or not just pedestrians, but not. I mean, she's even like 4 cars. Just we need. Boston's so messed up in so many ways that it takes a lot of effort to kind of rethink. Like, oh, we could use that space differently and make it better for everybody. There's lots of examples that have happened in the past decade or so. Namely, I don't know if you guys know by Central Square, where Mass Ave hits Main Street. It used to be like 6 lanes of traffic, and then they took away 2 lanes, and there's a big like pedestrian pavilion, and it's really nice now. The nice bike lanes that we probably have all ridden on Com Ave were championed for by Livable Streets, and if it weren't for them and their big push, we wouldn't have them. And those were the first bike lanes that the city ever put in 2 years ago, just to give you an idea of like how far we've come and how far we really have to keep going.
Has anyone else noticed the new bike lanes in Kenmore Square?
I did.
Yeah, they're painted
Those
very
are
nice.
great.
We're getting bike boxes on
It's helped
Ave.
out a lot.
So if you have any questions like that, I definitely recommend looking into Livable Streets, but I'll let Jackie talk more about it.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk for like 2 minutes because I know there's like cake on the table and it's Friday and it's finals. I don't know if you already said this, but I went to BU. I graduated in '08 and I came back from being abroad when the Kama reconstruction was happening, and I was like, what is going on here? And I had a lot of friends who had started biking, and so one day I started biking and was like, oh wow, everything is so much closer. And before I knew it, I like heard about this place, Livable Streets, and called them up and started volunteering. Almost a year later, I was hired as a first full-time staff person, and now it's been a whole year and a half later. So it's exciting to be here, and it's exciting to see this club because this didn't exist a couple years ago. The bike lanes didn't exist, and I didn't even think about like biking in Boston. But what else?
Why don't you talk about how you became involved with Livable Streets and what got you into the advocates? What made you an advocate?
Advocacy.
Yeah.
Does anyone not know what advocacy is? I shouldn't say that. Who knows what advocacy is? I didn't know what advocacy was. Does anyone think about it? Okay, so advocacy. I'll do this quickly because I didn't think about it either. Advocacy, you have like the government who makes decisions, who's the city of Boston, who owns the streets and says what happens. They have like advisory groups that give them extra information that citizens sit on. But then separate from that, you have advocacy groups who are kind of an additional resource, but because they're not linked with the government, they're there to kind of push the envelope and like think about the possibilities. And then you have civic groups, kind of like BU Bikes, which kind of creates the demand. So BU Bikes is helping to build, bicycling in Boston, and Livable Streets exists as an advocacy group to kind of push the envelope and push the city to say, let's rethink how we look at our streets and our spaces. So one thing was happening was a kind of reconstruction, but another thing was I saw a film about Parking Day online, and I was like, this is so cool. This is so much fun. You take over these parking spots. You realize how much space cars take up and what you can use for it. And it started